Today on Open Mind UFO Report, a witness in Wisconsin videotapes a hovering UFO, a Cheshire UFO witness shares an unusual video, and a Royal Marine shares photos and recalls a UFO sighting in Cyprus in 1971. Your Open Mind UFO Report starts now. Hello and welcome to the Open Mind UFO Report. My name is Alejandro Rojas. A witness in Milwaukee, Wisconsin reported watching and videotaping a hovering object with red, white, and blue lights, according to a report sent to the Mutual UFO Network, also known as MUFON. 4 witnesses were sitting outside on a front porch when the object was first noticed at 9:30 p.m. on September 16, 2016. Our friend David saw the craft first and brought it to our attention. The reporting witness stated, "The craft hovered for a minute or two, and then it moved around a bit, stopping and hovering at random. The witness noticed red, white, and blue lights on the object that flashed sequentially. The witness said the object continued to move around and hover at times before flying off. One of the witnesses noticed another object. The witness wrote, "A few minutes later, our roommate, Caitlin, saw an object creating a white strip in the sky. As it passed over the moon, the object appeared black. The object appeared to be moving east-northeast from high atmosphere to lower altitude, out of sight, heading towards the beach lake in the same place other objects have disappeared to." The witness provided 3 video uploads with the MUFON report, which was filed on September 17, 2016. Wisconsin MUFON State Director Susan Britton investigated and closed the case as an unknown. The witness and 3 other adults witnessed a triangular-shaped object flying in a direction coming from Lake Michigan, Britton stated in her report. The lake is about 8 blocks from their location. The object had 3 red lights on the bottom with some white and blue lights running along its sides. The following evening, September 16, 2016, at 9:30 p.m., the same or similar object returned almost the same place in the sky and exhibited flight characteristics the same as the first sighting. Burton provided more details in her report. The surface of the object was dull, the size was unknown, the light characteristics were flashing sequentially, the elevation was unknown, the lowest altitude was over 500 feet, and the distance was 501 feet to 1 mile. The flight path was from the southwest to the northeast. The object would fly and hover, then fly to a different direction and hover. It would move around randomly and hover, and then flew out of sight towards the northeast at rapidly increased speed. As with many UFO sightings with flashing lights, online commenters have suggested the object was a drone. Feel free to tell us what you think in the comments below. A British witness at Macclesfield, a town in Cheshire, England, reported watching and videotaping an odd-shaped object floating in the air near his home, according to another MUFON report. The witness was standing in his kitchen waiting to be picked up by a friend when the object was first noticed on August 25, 2016. "I noticed a black object floating up in the air," the witness stated. "Being into UFOs, I quickly grabbed my phone and recorded it. At the time, I considered it could be a balloon, and I was also quite late already, which is why I didn't film for any longer. It was only when I got home and zoomed in on the video that I realized what a strange shape it was." The witness is now convinced the object was not a balloon. "I have watched hundreds of thousands of UFO videos, and I honestly feel this may be one of the clearest, hardest to dismiss cases ever. It also seemed that the object was changing shape and structure rapidly between frames. I do not believe this shape matches anything else ever seen or recorded. I also have screenshots that seem to show this object detach part of itself during flight. Please let me know what you think." MUFON's UK National Director Jack Turnbull investigated this case and closed it as an unknown. "We recently posted photographs of a UFO sighting in Cyprus in 1971 taken during a mass sighting by the UK's Royal Marines. The story was posted by British UFO researcher Philip Mantle. Mantle is part of the British UFO Research Association, and he recalled working on this case in conjunction with another British UFO organization, the Plymouth UFO Research Group. The witness was a regimental sergeant major in the Royal Marines when the sighting took place. He described the incident to the Plymouth UFO Research Group. The witness did not want to use his name, so he is referred to as Steve. Steve says the alleged incident took place in Cyprus on the evening of May 31, 1971. He was part of the 41 Commando group stationed in Malta. 2 or 3 times a year they would go to Cyprus for field exercises. Around 1,400 men would participate in the exercise. Steve says, "We were doing what is known as a night move, and what happens is you move a command HQ from one place in the field to another place in the field in darkness. One of my jobs was to control that move, so I would depart, set up a new location, and then the unit would have to move to me." While preparing a new location for his men to move to, Steve spotted something odd. About 8 o'clock-ish, a very bright light appeared behind a crest, maybe 1,000 meters away. What it looked like initially was the headlights of a car on full beam, situated behind the hill. Because this was a night move with no lights, I got on the radio, gave my call sign, and told them to turn the lights off. The light just got stronger, so I transmitted again, negative lights. As I'm talking, this light came over the crest about 1,000 meters away, and you go, "It's not bloody headlights, it's a flare." The notion it was a flare frightened Steve because of the fire danger. There were 20 men at the location looking at the light, and they all ruled out the light being a flare. The main mass of light was almost spherical, but it was putting out so much radiance it looked like nothing you'd ever seen before, Steve recalled. All it was like was a burning ball of light. The light was extremely bright, and when I'm talking about extremely bright, I've never seen anything as bright in my life. Steve says they all stood in amazement trying to figure out what it was they were looking at. He could hear others talking about it over the radio as well. He believes all 1,400 men or so participating in the exercise saw it. "We watched this for 22 minutes, Steve continued. We were all professional observers. I carry powerful binoculars, night glasses, and there was about half a dozen pairs of binoculars there." Steve says the object was moving away, apparently taking the whole 22 minutes to move out of sight. "A point I want to make is that there was no impression of speed, sound, or movement. You were looking at something that seems to drift past you. I've been trained for 27 years to judge distances. That's what I'm paid for. But I couldn't tell you if that was 1,000 meters high, 5,000 meters high, 50-mile high. I'm also a professional parachutist, so I know distances in the air, but I couldn't tell you how far away it was or how high. It was just something you'd never seen before." The men were told that what they had seen was a rocket launch. However, Steve says he was later told by a colonel that after investigation, they had determined it was a UFO. Hundreds of pictures of the object were allegedly taken. However, the men were ordered to turn in all their photos and videos of the object. Steve got these pictures from a naval publicity photographer. The photographer had turned in his negatives, but had made these prints first. That's your Open Minds UFO report for today. You can find these stories and more at openminds.tv. We post fresh UFO news daily. You can also follow us on Twitter at OpenMindsTV, and you can find us on Facebook. You can now view lectures from the International UFO Congress on our Open Minds UFO video portal. For one low price, you can gain access to an archive of lectures and other Open Minds production videos. We have also opened up registration for the 26th Annual International UFO Congress. Most of the speakers have been listed. If you want to get your tickets at discounted prices, order your early bird tickets now at ufocongress.com. Let us know if you enjoyed today's episode by liking the episode on YouTube and leaving us your comments in the section below. You can also download our podcast, Open Minds UFO Radio, on iTunes or at openminds.tv/radio. Thanks again for joining us today for OpenMinds.tv. I'm Alejandro Rojas.